Hello, my name is Cravone and welcome to my guide of who should I shoot at in World of Tanks. At the moment of recording this video we are in patch 9.6, however the patch number should not make a difference considering these techniques can be used just in general gameplay unless Wargaming changes something big in the future or something. In this video I will be covering mediums, light tanks, TDs and RT and randoms, and then I'll be doing a little section at the end for like who you should like target call for clan wars, for instance. I will be using my game footage and I will also be commentating through some of the games, pointing out where I could have picked a better target, like where I picked a good target. However, for the clan war section I won't be including footage because, well, I'm not going to put my clan wars on YouTube. First of all, we're going to cover randoms for light tanks, medium tanks and heavies. Now the main premise on this is to find a balance between the vulnerability and the threat of your target. Now vulnerability can be like how easy it is to hit, as in like is it in cover or isn't it. A target in the open is much easier to hit. It can be how easy it is to pen or damage. For example, it's very easy to pen a Waffenträger, it's easy to HE a Waffenträger. It's easy to pen like the side of a tank's armor. Also, low health targets are also a priority because, well, you can kill them much quicker. Therefore, taking their gun out of the game, like a lot of people forget that a target on 10 HP is still shooting at you. So, if you take that gun out of the game, you're taking less damage. Now, the threat of the enemy tank is something you have to consider as well. As a general rule, RT is always the highest threat, so if you see RT, ever try and take them out of the game first. Unless it's a situation where you're brawling with, like, you're in a medium, you're brawling with another medium, the enemy RT is just fired. Like, you want to take out the medium first, obviously, before going for RT. But all other cases, you want to be taking out the medium, the RT first, rather. The other thing is the damage potential of tanks. You've got to take into account like how much damage can they do. Tanks which can one shot should be like really high on your list of things to kill. Tanks which have an autoloader like the Waffenträger should be really high on your list as well. But not just the Waffenträger, all autoloaders are deadly. As well as that, tanks which are in a really good sort of sniping position that are dealing a lot of damage to your teammates, they're a good priority target to deal damage or kill. Tanks which are flanking you, obviously they're the most vulnerable because there's only one of them as well. But they can be very dangerous. So keep in mind positions. Also, if you use XVM, obviously you want to be hitting the better players. Now in this battle I was playing my Type 62 light tank tier 7. Now with that first shot I had actually looked at all the shots I could have taken and only found one in the open, which is why I went for him. And this next shot, there's a KV-85 and an IS-3. The KV-85 is lower health, by default it's got less maximum health, so I went for that. So it's more vulnerable. Now this next shot was, I saw someone overextending, I took the shot, no big deal. I put myself into a situation where I wouldn't take more damage than I dealt. Again, tank in the open, easy target. Although if I'd been able to hit that lower health target, I should have gone for it. Now this, I made a few mistakes here. Obviously, you want to be like trying to shoot the front tank just so that you don't take too many shells in return. Now here I could have hit the VK behind, which would have been the most vulnerable target. However, I went for the Tiger because if I had gone for the VK, I would have spent more time trying to aim in, and it would be more dangerous for myself. Again, went for the Tiger because that's the quickest shot. Probably made a mistake. And there I get the VK because he's overextended again. Again, like, all of those shots were on vulnerable targets. Now this Tiger P I'm going for because, once again, vulnerable target. Now the IS-3 I went for because I couldn't hit the vulnerable target anymore. Now this was a game where I pretty much ramboed. I don't know if I was playing like this, but it worked for me this time. I went for a light tank. Now because I had landed a shot before the tank on the hill was spotted, I went for the light tank until it was dead. Now here I was facing a KV-1 and a KV-2. I went for the KV-2 because he's higher tier, he's got more damage potential, and crucially he can one-shot people, because I saw it from his thick barrel. So I decided to go for him in the hope that he's going to do less damage to my teammate than the KV-1. Here I went for the Challenger rather than the other meds, because the Challenger was on his own, weak armor, and I could easily crush him. Plus he was flanking my allies. You don't want your allies flanked. I put one final HE shell on the top of his turret because he's a weak armoured tank. Now I run into the I6 here. I did not expect him to be here. I pull back immediately, realising that that's probably not the target I want to fire because there's targets in the middle. So I focus on the middle targets. There's a Churchill GC and the Hellcat. I'm not going to lie, I needed a Churchill GC for Master Tanker at this point, but I kept an eye on both of them. I kept an eye on minimap to see where the IS-6 was, but yeah, I kept looking for the Hellcat, but as soon as I saw the Churchill, I went for the Churchill. IS-6 come around, he shot me, but still I'm going for the kills because I'm taking out guns from the game. Probably take another hit. No, I could have taken another hit from the IS-6 going for that Hellcat there, but it was worth taking another gun out of the game. And then this IS-6 just completely misses. I'm not really sure he had much choice there. Now we move on to RT and High Alpha TDs. Now RT and High Alpha TDs are different because you don't want to go for kills, because you're going to lose a lot of potential damage you could deal on more important targets. So the best way of balancing this is try and balance your damage potential to the threat level of the enemy vehicle. Now obviously for damage potential, if you want to do full damage, you want to hit the full health targets to get the maximum potential damage. And because in RT you could potentially one-shot any tank except for Mouses and potentially E100s, depending on your RT. Also look for large groups of tanks that are grouped up, because one gold HE shell in the middle of them will just splash the entire group. You'll get a lot of damage, you'll do a lot of critical hits, and the enemy as a whole will lose a lot more damage than if you just land on one target. Now the reason why you don't want to be going for kills in RT, except for in Clan Wars, which I'll get onto later, is because you have tanks on your team that can finish a tank that's below 400 that don't have the 30, 40 or 50 second reload you do have in RT. So you might as well use your long reload to take out something that's got a lot of health and let the low health target get taken out by an ally who's going to be with a quicker reload. The other thing you have to balance in RT is how much of a threat whatever you're going to shoot at is. You should take into account their skill, whether the enemy is an RT, the potential damage that enemy could cause, or more important, like this is something people don't realise, is if you hit the armor targets like the T110E3s, the T95, the Mouses, the E100s, you take out a lot of health on the tank your allies are going to really struggle with taking health off. So you're really helping your allies by like dealing with that target that's going to be very difficult to kill. Now this next game was a game I played in my Object 261 Tier 10 Russian artillery. I don't really like it, but still. So I focused a Foch here instead of a medium or the R3. The Foch was stationary. It had the highest health of the R3 and Foch, and I saw it as quite a big target, like because of its high DPM. I wasn't going to hit the medium. Now this next shot, I actually go for the R3 because the R3 now has the highest health. It's the highest potential damage for me to cause. Unfortunately, he takes a shot as I fire, which would put him as probably not the best target. But it was still the easiest target to hit. Now at this point in the game, I had the scout come for me. Now, as an arty player, sometimes, like, you have to judge this right. Sometimes if a scout comes for you, you should still take a shot that you've aimed in on. And like accept that you're going to die. But in situations like this where you know you can kill the scout going for you is top priority. Now for some of the more competitive stuff: clan wars, tank companies, team battles and strongholds. Now, as an everyday like standard player that just casually plays clan wars, you need to always focus fire. Like, there's no question about it. Always focus fire. Hit the target that your FC has called out as being the target. If your FC is not calling anyone out and no one's T-targeting, then you're going to have to T-target, and this is going to be what you should be looking for. Now, if you're in a medium or a heavy tank, you need to focus on the lowest health target. If you can, like, if you see a target you can one-shot with your like 490 damage gun on the i7, you need to go for that target. Take the gun out of the game as soon as possible. Even use HE if necessary. If they're all full health, go for the autoloaders. Take out the autoloaders. Take out the biggest risk. I mean, the biggest, like, for mediums and heavy tanks, what you should be picking to focus fire is exactly what you should be picking to focus fire in randoms. So, like, for clan wars, that doesn't change. You're going to need to be more coordinating. That's the key thing. Whereas in randoms, a loss is a loss, a win is a win. But in clan wars, it's sort of different, because anyone that's in the clan will know exactly what I'm talking about. Now for TDs, it is slightly different. Now as a quick note, UFC's in charge of battle, not me. So if UFC told you to do something, do it, like, regardless of what I say in this video. But if UFC isn't telling you what to shoot at as a TD, then you need to pick your own targets. Generally, I find that, like, TDs which do 750 alpha should be prioritizing on those that are 500 to 750 health, because they can one-shot those with one shell, whereas like the heavies won't be able to. So you take guns out quicker, but you generally want to be in maybe like the mid-range like health. I mean, hitting the low health targets does work, provided you don't have a really long reload. Jagdpanzer, E100 drivers, yeah, hit anything from the 500 to 1000 mark, obviously. F3183s, again, don't waste your huge alpha, but sometimes you might need to use that Hess shell to finish off a really armoured tank. So yeah, just remove guns, but try and do as much damage as you can as a TD. Now, for arty, this is probably quite different to randoms. And take it from me, I'm an arty player in both clan wars and randoms. It's very different. In clan wars, you will be looking for kills. Your potential damage is important in clan wars, but not nearly as important as it is in randoms. In clan wars, you want to be taking out guns. You want to be crippling the enemy team. So you also want to be taking out the biggest threats, like the Waffenträgers and any kind of Ortolers, like big TDs that you can see from a distance. You should be trying to take those out. But like normally in clans, in clan wars, the FCs will often give Artie pretty much free reign on what to shoot at. So you have to really be careful what you shoot at. A big HE shell into the middle of the enemy's heavy push is never a bad thing to do. So if you're lost for what to shoot at, drop a shell that's going to hit about 5 or 6 tanks for 600, rather than a shell that's going to do 2000 on someone. Also, if you can see a tank which you can kill in Artie, like, you should go for that kill. But in a clan war, you should try and get that with splash damage by hitting his ally that's next to him, if possible. That way you get your full alpha and you take the gun out of the game. And that is the end of my video guide. Thank you very much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe if you like it, and I'll see you guys later.